Welcome back. All right, so we got 3 games tonight in the National Hockey League, which means news of the day video and preview rolled into one for your Wednesday, February the 14th, otherwise known as Happy Valentine's Day or just February the 14th, and we don't want to talk about it. So, of course, yesterday the suspension came out right before the games started, so we'll talk about it now. Morgan Rielly gets the 5 games for the cross-check on Ridley Gregg. Right around where the expectation was after the Perron hit, very similar to the Perron hit, so makes sense. 5 games, he is expected to appeal. This seems to be the thing now that when a player is suspended, they'll appeal the suspension if it's a lengthy one. Of course, the expectation is it gets to Gary Bettman. Gary Bettman likely upholds the appeal. But yeah, we'll see what ends up happening there. But yeah, Rielly is expected to appeal. And they fined Ullmark for a stick swing last night, a high sticking incident as they've termed it, on Asamont. And basically, Asamont crashes the net. Ullmark swings a stick. If it had really connected, we'd be looking at a suspension for sure. It's a fine because he didn't really connect. It's just more of a don't do that kind of thing, which I'm totally behind. Stick swinging, not a big fan. Rather not see it in the game. So, yeah. At any rate, it's the same kind of thing as when the goaltender hits the guy with his blocker. If there's a guy in his face, like it's very similar. But anyways, that way people who want a suspension are happy, and people who say really for that, they're not happy either. So it works. Plus, if you want to see substantial fines, this isn't the one either. So good news for Canuck fans, at least I think so. We'll see what the mindset is with Canuck fans on this. It looks like Phil Kessel's going to join the team. He's going to be in Abbotsford, so I'm wearing my Abbotsford Canuck shirt. And Phil, if you want to know where to eat around here, by all means, reach out. But at any rate, yeah, Kessel's going to be working in Abbotsford this week. He is expected to join the Canucks, I would think, as soon as next week. They probably just want to make sure he's up to speed and good to go. But Phil Kessel joining the Canucks, I didn't have that on my bingo card. There are so many Canuck-related items that have taken me off guard. And if you told me Phil Kessel was going to come back for maybe a shot at a Stanley Cup, and it might be with the Canucks, my answer would be the Stanley Cup? The NHL Stanley Cup? Anyways, all the best to Kessel, and hopefully this signing goes through soon and they can get him in the lineup. I think it'll be great. Connor McDavid. So last night he broke his own, at least his own personal record with 6 assists. He hasn't done that before. Ends up one shy of the record. Billy Taylor Sr. and Wayne Gretzky have the record with 7 assists in a game. And he's tied for 3rd in points in the NHL with David Pastrnak. Kucherov is 13 points ahead of him with 90. Does anybody want to bet on McDavid not getting to at least tie Kucherov by the end of the year? I don't. McDavid just has this ability to do it. I will agree, too, with the announcers last night that said it doesn't feel like it's top of mind with McDavid this year, that the chase of the points title is not as important to him. He's more geared towards the team. But yeah, he may still end up leading the league in scoring anyways because he's that talented. So we'll see what happens. But at this point, Kucherov is the leader. 90 points is still ridiculous. But McDavid's got 77. So it's possible. Plus, keep in mind that if he ends up with 150 points this season, that would put him exactly at 1,000 points for his career. So, yeah, it's possible. I know it's not probable. It'd be a lot of points in a very short period of time. But it is McDavid, and he had 6 points last night. So, if he has, say, 25 points in the next 4 games, you just never know. Rasmus Ristolainen, who's been the subject of trade speculation, he's going to undergo a procedure in 2 to 3 weeks, and then he's going to be reevaluated at that point. They're going to give a timeline. It doesn't sound like Ristolainen's likely to be traded before the trade deadline. So that contract would stay with Philly until at least this summer, if that's the case. Ristolainen, I think it's the contract people get mad at. I think his play's been all right this year. It's just the cap hit's a little bit high for what he provides at this point to the Philadelphia Flyers. But let me know your thoughts as to whether or not you think the Flyers should be trading around players, because I don't know that they necessarily should. I think, if anything, maybe they should be looking at adding. But, hey, crazy, right? All right, so we got 3 games tonight in the National Hockey League, 2 of them starting at 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific, and then 2 hours later, the late game gets started, so still relatively early night for me. 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific, the Florida Panthers in against the Pittsburgh Penguins. For the Florida Panthers, they're 33-15-4, and they've won both of the first two meetings with Pittsburgh, so this is their third and last meeting. December 8th, Florida wins 3-1. January 26th, it's a shootout win, 3-2 for the Florida Panthers. Florida's 6-2-2 in their last 10 to get to 33-15-4. Sam Reinhart is quite the concern. Good luck containing him. 39 goals, 25 assists, 64 points. On the Pittsburgh side, they're 23-19-7 overall. They're 3-4-3 in their last 10. Jake Gensel apparently holding up the trade market. Pittsburgh still deciding what they want for him. I don't know if you even bother trading Gensel, because I don't know if Pittsburgh wants to just throw in the towel. I don't know if they want to still go for it. If they want to still go for it, they're going to want to get somebody back. They're not going to want to just, bow out of the playoff race. And losing Gensel would be huge. He's got more than a point per game. He's got 51 points. I think it's 48 games he's played, 48, 49 games. So, yeah, the 22 goals would be difficult to replace as well. We'll see what happens there. 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific, the San Jose Sharks and the Winnipeg Jets. These teams have split the first two meetings. I'm half tempted to call this a trap game, but Winnipeg should know better. San Jose won December 12th by a score of 2-1. January 4th, it was a 2-1 win for Winnipeg. So they've been close. San Jose is now 14-32-5. But you know what? Over their last 10, they're 5-3-2. What's interesting is they've been playing well since Couture came back, but he's not producing. He has 1 assist in 6 games since returning. So we'll see what happens at the deadline with San Jose. The expectation is there'll be some selling, and we'll see what that looks like and what Couture's spot is on this team in the future. On the Winnipeg side, they're 31-14-5. They are 4-5-1 in their last 10. It has not been overly pretty. Ehlers, 16 goals, 20 assists, 36 points. He is amongst the Winnipeg Jets players who've been struggling to get points. There's been a lot of struggling to get points from Winnipeg Jets players recently. So Ehlers is a guy that if anybody can get out of this mess, it should be Nick Ehlers. 9:30 Eastern, 6:30 Pacific, the Minnesota Wild and the Arizona Coyotes meet up. These are teams going in very much opposite directions. And Arizona won 6-0 January 13th. Now we're a month later. Things have really changed since that matchup. These teams will meet again March 7th and March the 12th, so they meet 4 times. Minnesota's 24-23-5. However, they're 7-3 in their last 10. They're getting better. The win over Vegas was very impressive. We'll see how they do against Arizona. Boldy, 18 goals, 20 assists, 38 points. Playing quite well lately. On the Arizona side, they're 23-24-4. They are 2-6-2 in their last 10. So it hasn't been that pretty lately. Lawson Krause, 19 goals, 10 assists, 29 points. So right on the verge of 20 goals for Krause. Should end up with about 25 to 30 by the time the season's done. But for Arizona, I think there's a lot of good messages when it comes to their player development this year. A lot of good take from this season, but it definitely looks like playoff hopes have faded. For Minnesota, playoff hopes are still likely out of reach, but if they can win 7 out of every 10 from here, who knows? Let me know your picks for tonight's games in the comment section below, and of course your thoughts on any of the items on the board as well. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe in the event you haven't done so already. Thank you guys so much for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.